to your fist. I know. All of a sudden, you want to start giving money to somebody. Everything you earned.
Recording in progress.
Good evening, Pueblo, Colorado. The time is 5:30 p.m. on June 1st, 2026, and I call this work session for Pueblo City Council to order. I'd like to first begin by acknowledging that we do have some guests in our chamber today for our meeting. We have Commissioner Miles Lucero, so I'm going to just say hey. And then we just saw Commissioner Swaringen, so welcome. Welcome to our chamber, and thank you for coming and meet with us. Commissioner McFeeters, I believe, will be here at some point when we begin that portion of our meeting. Okay, well, we will begin our agenda. I would go ahead and recognize Mr. McCain for city updates for 5 minutes. Mr. McCain, if you want to proceed with your report.
Thank you, ma'am. So first, if you look up here, there's the flyer. Save the date for Saturday, June 13th for the electronic recycling event at RecycleWorks from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. RecycleWorks is located on 1595 Stockyard Road. There's a $1 per pound on all items. Accepted items include desktop computers, laptops, monitors, TVs, printers, cell phones, blenders, toasters, microwaves, vacuums, fax machines, modems, routers, servers, DVD players, VCRs, game consoles, radios, cables, wires, power adapters, ink and toner cartridges. So basically everything that we don't want you to throw away on the other events, you could bring them here. Town halls, there's still time to catch one of the 3 remaining town halls with Mayor Graham. Mayor Graham's focus for the town halls include discussions centered around the city's budget and answering questions from the public. All town halls begin at 5:30 p.m. Join us at one of the following dates and locations. Tomorrow, June 2nd at Rawlings Library in the Brett Kelly A room. Tuesday, June 19th at Lucero Library. And Thursday, June 11th at YMCA Community Room. Also, in some of the past meetings, there were some requests from councilors. I know Councilor Hernandez requested an update on all the capital improvement projects. Mayor Graham has emailed these out as we put them together to all of council as the departments get them together and we put the list together. If anybody has any specific questions, please let me know. I could get the information to you and or connect you to the staff that can answer your questions. I know Councilor Gomez and also Councilor Dante and Councilor Ruiz Gomez in the past had a few audit questions and requests, specifically about a third-party audit. We're currently in an audit with a third party, one that we do every year that we're required to, and all are published publicly. This one is in the process. If anyone on council wants to meet with the auditors, just let me know. If you have questions of the auditors, the process, or want to even have like an in-depth conversation with them, just let me know. Request that through me and I could set that up and connect you to the people that want to talk. Danny Nunn also, I don't know if he's here tonight, but he is more of a financial expert than I am. So if you have specific questions, I know Councilor Gomez, you had asked about specific audits on, I don't know if it's certain departments that you want audited or to look at, go on the financials, anything like that, you can go through me and I could set that up for you.
Are you referring to the CAFRA, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report?
There's that too, yes.
That's something every municipality does. I was talking about something completely different.
What are you looking for specifically?
Well, you have about 23 different types of audits, so now I'm going to have to bear down and find exactly. We're going to talk about performance audit, we're going to talk about transactional audit, we're going to talk, there's so many, but that's not what I was referring to on the CAFRA.
Okay. Councilor Gomez, check in with Mr. McCain on those needs, and it sounds like
I wasn't referring to the CAFRA as an answer. I was looking for something more specific, but that's okay. We'll get to it.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you want to send that to me, just let me know, and I'll work with you, or anybody on that, any of those requests. Also, there's been some questions about disseminating information. If any of the councilors, if you need something disseminated to the council, I am more than happy to make sure that gets to everybody. Also, Katie, I know she assists with that a lot too. So if you have any questions, concerns, or if you just need to get information out, let me know. Or if you need information in, please, that's what I'm here for. Use me as a resource. And with that, that concludes my update.
Thank you, Mr. McCain. I also would like to acknowledge that there will also be a town hall on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. hosted by some of the counselors to discuss Project Falcon at PCC in the auditorium. So if anybody is wanting to join us for that conversation, you're more than welcome. We hope to see you there. Just give some conversation about that. All right. Moving forward with the council's agenda, I invite Mayor Graham on up to discuss the voluntary Solvac program.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. City council. Oh, okay. Sorry, Mayor Graham. Just one moment. We're going to just take a step back and pivot. At this point, we are going to recognize council, to recognize them to discuss any council board and committee updates. I will begin with Councilor Dante.
Yes, I missed the. Sorry. I was unable to go to the ADA meeting this past month, so I'm going to give you some information from the minutes. I had another meeting I had to go to at that time. They had a guest speaker, Rob Gilkerson, and he did a presentation on disability access in Canyon City. And then they had city report, which updated us on the ice arena lift, that it needs warranty repair, and so they're having a hard time getting that because it's so old. Not a whole lot else happened. And then I'm also over the homeless commission, and at the homeless commission, it's going to be happening Friday morning at 10 a.m. We're going to approve the new revised bylaws, and we have a guest speaker from United Way coming in as well. What was the other one? Oh, Fountain Creek. I also missed the Fountain Creek. I also had another meeting I had to go to. I have to go up to Fountain Creek, and if I have a meeting right after, it's impossible to come back to a meeting. And I will let Brett or Councilor Boston talk about PACOG. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Dante. I will now acknowledge President Aliff. Do you have a report on HARP Authority?
No.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Boston, would you like to update us on Planning and Zoning Commission?
There's been no updates on planning and zoning, no updates on HARP Authority, no updates for PACOG, and no updates for economic development.
Thank you, Councilor Boston. Councilor Hernandez, do you have an update on Southern Colorado Building Commission?
The only update that I have on the commission is adoption of the code that they're going to be using, the 2021 as opposed to the 2024. Also some personal issues, not in a negative way, just some personal issues that they'll be dealing with at the commission. The Latino Chamber, no report, and Public Chamber of Commerce, no report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hernandez. Let's see. Mayor Graham, you are on the list for Pura. Do you have an update you'd like to give?
Just that the city and the authority are continuing to work on some very large projects coming into the community that are demo work and economic development related.
Thank you. All right. Councilor Latino, do you have an update for the Airport Advisory Committee?
The update that I have basically has to do with, we're working on a program through Pueblo Community College, an air mechanics program. That would be a great asset and benefit to this community and also to the airport. And there's a few other things that are going on at this point in time, okay? But that's something at this point in time where I don't want to discuss because it hasn't been talked about as a board. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. As for me, I do serve on the Committee on Disposition and Forfeited Property, and we did have a meeting last Tuesday, and there was a very great meeting. I was able to work with some of our law enforcement on addressing a couple of needs for projects and for use of the money in that fund. One of the projects that's being proposed is to have a trailer that is going to be used for the use of hazmat materials. Currently, what the police officers currently have doesn't meet their needs, so they're working on a proposal for that. So we'll be seeing more information come to the council soon on that one. The other project that was proposed by this committee was for a block box lab, which is used for criminal investigation, and this is to help support proper change of custody and make the process a little easier and more credible for processing crime scenes when cell phones are involved. So those are the two things that were brought up. My understanding is that the folks involved from the city staff who are working on this will be presenting resolutions to the council pretty soon. They sounded like really great projects that will be very helpful in helping our law enforcement serve the city. All right.
Forgot about me.
Oh, Councilor
did you
Gomez,
forget about
do you have a report for update on a commissioner?
PDF,
Board. Okay.
Public Development Foundation.
I will recognize
There's still
you.
some frustration and, I believe, some sleight of hand stuff going on with why the reimbursement issue hasn't been cleared up yet. $1.5 million is a lot of money to be waiting on, and whatever kind of twisting we do or manipulating or how we don't want to, that has got to be settled and has to be settled quickly. The other thing is there's concern about the executive branch, the mayor in particular, looking for proprietary information that they're not entitled to, and that always seems to get in the way of things. If she wants it and she doesn't get it, you're not getting your stuff done. So that's where we're at. I'm very frustrated by this because I'm bringing this up of every single meeting, and we get the same nonsense all the time. So I want to get it straightened out. I don't know if it's going to take a task force or take some kind of audit or forensic, whatever it's going to take. We got to get this cleared up. That's $1.5 million that they owe in reimbursements. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. I think that concludes all of our commission reports. Thank you, councilors, for the updates. And at this point, Mayor Gremna, I will recognize you for your presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, council. In February, Director of HR, Ms. Trujillo, and myself brought this project before you, the voluntary separation agreements with city staff, in order to help with the budgetary issues that we're going to be facing over the next couple of years. And I told you that once this was settled, we would be coming to city council to tell you about the applicants, which departments they come from, and the total overall savings from the city. So the total number of applicants that we had for the voluntary separation agreements was 17. Ultimately, only 12 of those employees took up the offer. So these offers have now been signed and completed. You can see on the right-hand side the departments that each of these applicants come from. As you know, the applicant will receive money based off the years of service. Any number under 5 years was at the $5,000 mark. So on the left column, you can see the total years of service to the city, and you can see the payment that they are going to receive for voluntary separating from the city. It is a total monthly savings of about $72,000. 2026's salary savings, because these do come into effect come June 30th. So July on, the city will be receiving salary savings from these 12 positions. So that will bring us to a total of $539,000 for 2026. And per the agreement, the position has to stay frozen for 2027's budget, which is an additional $1.2 million in salary savings. Total salary savings from July through 2027 will be about $1.6 million. Exit dates for these 12 individuals are either June 15th or June 30th, depending on when they chose to leave. And then an update for the positions that I have frozen this year in 2026. In the left-hand column, you can see the position titles. You can see which department, the month that it was frozen, the monthly savings, and what that's going to equate to for 2026 savings, which is going to be about $896,000. City Council, when the budget was passed in 2025, on the night that we passed the budget, we froze an additional 24 positions, which was about $2.4 million. So between the freezing of those positions and the positions that have been frozen year to date, we have a savings of around $3.4 million in frozen positions through the city, 24, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 34 total positions have been frozen from my side of the house since 2025. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, I will now open up the agenda for questions to be fielded by the counselors. I'll begin with Counselor Dante.
Can we go back to, I think it's slide 2? Okay, 3 then. There. Total monthly salary savings is 71 million.
No, I put an extra number in there. Sorry, 71,000. Good catch. If only, right?
Yes,
No,
if only.
that's the monthly savings for these positions.
So it's 71,000, okay.
Yeah. Total of 1.6 million for
Okay.
this year, and then
I was just reading that and I was like,
yeah,
wow, that's great.
that math isn't mathing.
Anybody else? Mayor Graham, I just have a question. With these, this seems to be like there's a lot of positions in different areas of the city. Are you finding that with the staff that will be retained, being that some of these positions were frozen, that you the staff has capacity to get
Yeah.
for what they need?
So when the applications were turned in to HR, Finance, and myself, we met with each of the department directors and had thorough conversations about, is there capacity for other employees within their departments to be able to absorb the workload? If that wasn't going to be the case, that position was not granted to be frozen, and that application could not go through because it would really not make any savings to accept an application that was going to have a burden on the city that we could not fulfill. And none of these positions were also public safety related. So no police officers and no firemen were allowed to apply for this program.
Okay, thank you. The chair will recognize Councilor Hernandez.
Just a real quick question. Do you know how many police officers have been hired this year based on the FTE?
I could tell you that we have an allocation of 231 that we can hire for, and we have 31 vacancies.
Still 31 vacancies?
At this time, we just graduated 7 that just started a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
So still
So
30.
that's about 3.5 FTE just for 26.
I'm sorry.
So it's about 3.5 FTE for fiscal 26. That'll be annualized in 27.
3.5 million?
No, 3.5 positions. That's what I'm saying. Have we only hired 7 for the year?
No, that
Okay.
was just in the latest class that graduated about 10 days ago.
Okay, so,
I could get you the number.
Thank you.
For year-to-date on hirings, and kind of break out to who's in the academy, who's in the mentor program, and kind of what that looks like, and when they will graduate throughout the year.
okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? The chair will recognize President Aliff.
I have a follow-up to that, the police chief sent over a report, I think it was last month, that we saw. It had a lot of good information on there on the hiring and stuff, so that was good. And thank you very much for what you did on this program. That's a great move, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
We did have several employees ask if the city was going to be offering this again later on in the year because of the time frame that we offered it in. We had a lot of people who maybe were uncertain or unable to see what their health insurance could potentially look like. And so if they were given a little bit more notice and they knew starting January 1 that they had to be in open enrollment for like their spouse's health insurance, that they might have been more apt to take it. That's why some of the applicants did drop off. So depending on how the budget looks, we might be bringing this back for a second round to put out there, and might have a few more separations.
Thank you for your report, Mayor Graham. And I just want to take a minute to thank all of the new City of Pueblo retirees that will be coming toward coming into retirement here at the end of the month. Thank you so much for your service to the City of Pueblo. We appreciate all that you've done and wish you happy days as you move into the retirement. And thank you so much for being good stewards of our community and recognizing the move here. I know that it's a really heavy discernment. So congratulations, and wishing you the best as you move into retirement. All right, we will move on into our agenda with our guests. We're going to take a real quick, maybe 5-minute break to get set up, or do we need a break? You're okay? All right, I would like to invite Commissioner Lucero and Commissioner Swearingen, if you want to sit up here. And then, the agenda is posted for this portion at 6:15. That's why I'm wondering if we should hang on a bit. Yeah. My understanding is she was coming. We are early. Do we want to wait? Give her
Executive session.
executive session. We can.
You guys want to wait around for 2 hours?
Could you maybe call and see where she's at?
Okay, let's do it. Just take a couple minutes just to do a check-in with Commissioner Mafeters. Thank you. Melissa, is Gina on her way too? She should be, okay, yeah. And I'm just giving fair consideration because the slated time is 6:15.
Hey, we're ahead of schedule. Are you almost here? We're ahead of schedule. Are you almost here? Okay, thanks, bye. Be here in 5 minutes.
Oh,
So let's take a 5-minute break.
5 minutes.
okay. Nice. The council will recess for 5 minutes while we wait for the remainder of our guests to arrive to our session. So we're going to take a 5-minute break. Gina, perfect. All right, someone can help us round up the counselors? Oh, I don't know. Are we good with the camera? Perfect. Okay. All right, welcome back to our work session. I'd like to just take a minute to welcome Commissioner Paula McFeeters. She's joined us, and then we have another guest, our CSAC Chair, Gina Lopez Ferguson, is also here to join in the conversation with for this evening. Thank you, and welcome to our guests. I will turn it over to Melissa, who will kick us off with our conversation today, and then we'll see where this leads.
Thank you, Chair Ruiz Gomez. For those that can't see me, that are maybe watching online, my name is Melissa Cook. I'm the Director of Housing and Citizen Services here at the City of Pueblo. Today, I'm really just kicking us off, getting started so that we can have a discussion between both the county commissioners, thank you so much for coming, and all of our city elected officials as well regarding CSAC. The one thing I do just want to make sure everybody knows and understands is the timeline of any changes that we are potentially contemplating here today. Normally, CSAC applications for 2027 would open July 1st and be open through the month of July. This gives adequate time for our CSAC members to review them and make recommendations before the first of the year when funding would be approved for 2027. If there are changes, that means that we have to update the intergovernmental agreement between the city and the county. And for the city side, at least, we know that that will take 2 readings. So that essentially it takes a month to get approved. And so the way that, or the path forward, if we do want to make changes to the CSAC program requirements or anything else that would be contained within the IGA, would be to delay the applications for 1 month to August 1st opening. But that means that the timeline for all of the folks here tonight to have an agreed upon IGA would be about 2 to 3 weeks. That includes going through the legal team for both the city and the county. So I just wanted to lay that out there so that folks do understand the timing of this. And yeah, at this point, I guess I'll turn it over, Selena, to you to get us started. I think Councilor Dante has a presentation for us.
Thank you, Melissa. Councilor Dante, did you want to begin?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll recognize Councilor Dante. Thank you so much.
This presentation is kind of a summary on the documents that Christina, Commissioner Paula McFeeters, me and Roger put together. We did not want to come in with a blank slate. We wanted to be a little bit prepared on showing you kind of some suggestions on what we're thinking about. As we go through it, if you want to stop on a certain slide and have a conversation about that slide, then go ahead and stop the presentation and we'll talk. So let's go on with the presentation. No? Am I supposed to?
Someone's got it. I can do it. Do you want to drive?
No, you can drive. You can drive.
You and the bad drivers. Couldn't help.
Okay, as you can see, the grant process is first you meet the eligibility requirements. Applicants review the requirements and apply if eligible. These requirements will be posted on the CSAC's website, of course, just like they are right now. Then you apply, you complete the application, including scope of service, sources of income table, 990, proof of nonprofit status, audits, financial statements, budget, board of directors list of major contributors, staff, and certificate of good standing with Secretary of State. Then you present to CSAC board. This is optional, but part of the application weighted score. Then CSAC will review it. CSAC Board reviews applications applying the rubric ranking. CSAC recommendations, the recommendations are made to the City Council and County Commissioners. Presentations to include the master CSAC spreadsheet and the summary of rubric scoring. Yes.
How do I know that? Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
First of all, I just wanted to say a little bit of the background for why the council and the commissioners have gone through this process, and I want to say thank you to Christina for helping us with this process. I think as elected officials, when we're utilizing monies that are collected from the taxpayer, we want to make sure we get accountability and return on investment with these dollars. And what we've heard repeatedly from the CSAC committee is they want guidance, they want guardrails, they want to know what it is they need to be doing. And so what we decided to do as Councilor Gomez, Councilor Dante, and myself, with Christina, sat down and mapped out where could we see some improvements. And so before we get too deep into this presentation, I just want to set it up that these are ideas that we had that would improve it, provide more accountability and more assurance of return on investment for the taxpayer. And again, these are not, I don't think it's normal for city and county governments to really be grant makers, but what we see this as is investments in our community for those service providers that do what government cannot do. And we also look at the need and also the new things that come along in our community. We wanted to be able to say to CSAC, here's the guardrails that we see in a revised process. But again, tonight, as we show you what we kind of put together, I don't think any of us want to say, we just don't want any feedback from you all. I think we definitely want to hear from you what you think would be acceptable or where you have questions. But I just want to preface that this was a collaboration between City Council and the County Commissioner Board to come up with a process that could help better guide CSAC. So, and again, thank you, Christina Trujillo, for your ideas with grant writing and all the grant making she does. She provided a lot of insights that I think on the government end we don't always look at. So as you're seeing the presentation, keep that in mind if you have questions. This is the beginning of changing the process moving forward. For next year, 27 is when we see really this becoming the new application process. If you all approve that without changes, that's what I wanted to make sure is understood before Diane gets too far into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. Sorry, I didn't do an introduction. Okay, so to qualify, you need data. You need the need and data. Access where the applicant clearly proves a Pueblo-specific need with strong local data and well-defined target population. Impact and scale. Access unduplicated individuals served, percentage of community impacted, measurable outcomes, and key performance metrics. Program design, access, implementation quality, clarity, feasibility, and alignment between activities and outcomes. Rate of return. Access value per CSAC dollar, efficiency, expected community benefit, and leverage resources. Collaboration, access awareness of similar providers, coordination, partnerships, and reduced duplication. Capacity, access staffing, leadership, infrastructure, past performance, and execution strength. Sustainability, access diversified funding, long-term sustainability, and reduced reliance on CSAC over time. Funding preferences, access first-time applicants, new services, innovation, collaboration, and historical limited CSAC investment. Okay. No questions on that slide? Okay. Scoring rubric. So they're using a scoring rubric right now, and we looked at it and we thought that there were some things on there that seemed a little flawed. So we kind of did a few changes on it. So community need and data strength, strength of data provided, clear definition of need in Pueblo, use of relevant local data, statistics, or research, understanding of target population. So the scoring guide is 16 to 20 strong, clear data-driven need with strong local evidence and trends, 11 to 15 moderate, some data provided but lacks depth on specificity. Can't say that word. 0 to 10 week, limited or no data, unclear need. And so they're getting a percentage compared to the other rubric ranking was where they were getting 1, 2, or 3 points. So here they're getting percentage. Community impact and scale of service. Unduplicated individuals served, percentage of public community impacted, measurable outcomes and community-wide benefit, strength of key performance metrics. So strong would be high impact, clear scale, measurable outcomes, and strong reach. Moderate reach of some unclear measurements, and weak, limited reach, unclear outcomes, or weak measurements. Program design and feasibility, program structure and clarity, implementation plan and timeline, service delivery model, alignment between activities, goals, and outcomes. Strong, well-designed, clear, feasible program with strong alignment. Moderate, some gaps in clarity, feasibility, or alignment. And weak is unclear, unrealistic program design. And as you can see, the maximum percentage is 20, 20, and 15. Any questions? Okay. Are we on the next page? Oh. What are you doing?
Counselor Nante, in the sake of time, I guess, we could just briefly talk through what those other measurements are. They're rather lengthy. The scoring rubric is not 3 items. It's really 3, 6, 8 different areas. So return on investment is another one that I think is important. It's up there, so go ahead. Return on investment, efficient use of requested funds. Again, measurements of what that is. We define what's a strong value, what's a moderate one, what's a weak one. Collaboration, duplication of effort, that's another one. When there's similar providers all competing for the same pot of money and you have several of them in a year, how do you go about deciding which one gets those dollars? And that's this measurement. Strong collaboration, clear differentiation, and reduced duplication. Organizational capacity is another one. The qualifications of leadership in that organization that's applying for the dollars. Are they experienced? Do they have a structure and readiness? Those are all measurements that we came up with. And then Diane, if you'll finish the last few.
Go back to that one.
Oh, sorry.
There's a reduction of duplication, and I want to be very clear on what we're talking about. We're seeing nonprofit organizations applying for multiple grants. As an example is that they'll get CSAC and then they'll go get CBGD and home grant money. So they're getting it multiple times. Or they're coming to the city and getting money as well as CSAC money. So that's kind of where we're talking about. Okay, go on. Sustainability and funding strategy, diverse planning, long-term sustainability, reduced reliance on CSAC over time, ability to leverage additional support. And I'm not going to read through every strong, moderate, and weak. I think you can read that. Funding preferences and strategic considerations. First-time CSAC applicant, new programs and services addressing identified community needs, collaboration, or innovative.
Recording in progress.
We just started doing it. Collaboration or innovative approach, historical limited CSAC funding or lower levels of CSAC investment over time. Miles?
can you folks talk about, I know, I know a rubric exists, right? CSAC isn't just scoring applications today based on whatever the vibe is that day. Can you talk about how you feel like this rubric substantively differs from what's in place today?
Yeah, for one thing, they were giving 3 points for strong applicant, or for.
Vetting, maybe?
For strong, like right on the previous one, it'd be strong if you do it really well. It'd be moderate if you're doing it pretty good. And then it would be weak if you were doing it okay, or also it would be weak if you didn't do it at all. And they were going 3 points for strong, 2 points for moderate, and 1 point for not doing it at all. So we looked at that and thought, that looked a little flawed, because you're giving them points for something they're not doing.
And the point system creates I guess, an assessment where it's really close in alignment with each applicant, whereas on a percentage basis, you get a little bit more differentiation between someone who's doing it strongly versus someone who's not doing it at all. On a percentage basis, assigning that point system max with the percent score gives you a little bit more differentiation. So we're giving a 0 to 1 is weak, versus the other gave it 1 even if you're weak. Whereas this option allows no points to be assigned, and so it does give CSAC some more tools, I guess, to evaluate with a stronger outcome than what the prior process allowed.
Okay, I like that, I appreciate that. What about like the categories? Do they differ significantly from what's in place today?
No, the categories are basically the same.
Okay.
So you're asking to do
sustainability,
with
community need.
health and childcare and those kind of
No,
categories.
ma'am, I'm talking about the categories within the rubric. Are we scoring them, or are you proposing that we score based on new categories? Or are these mostly similar to how we score the applications today?
I
For
think
example,
they're pretty
community need.
similar. They're just, they're not written out the same way, but they're similar.
Okay.
I'd have to pull it up.
And then the general categories, as far as, whatever, who you serve, those remain pretty similar. Yeah.
The application, I think, is where you're going with that, Commissioner, and I would just overview it really quick. What we're asking for is, what is it they're gonna do? What's the community need? 1,500-word essay explaining what the community need is, and they must include relevant data that would back up whatever they're saying. The second would be the scale of the impact. They describe the scope and reach of their program, who's the target population, the percentage of the population impacted, the geographic area. The application itself lines it out, and that's in your packet. We just didn't want to over-present too much information for you all, but there is that detail that should have been in your packets to review about what the application requests. It talks about unduplicated individuals served, total number of people served, and how do you track that data. Program description and the return on investment. In other words, if we invest in you, what are we getting back as a community, is a long question that has many aspects to it. Whether it's a new program or an existing one, and how many years has it been on CSAC funding. Organizational capacity, how does your organization, is it equipped to deliver what you say you want to do? So we want to avoid people asking for money and then finding out later that they actually can't deliver it because they don't have the organizational capacity. So that's kind of a question that goes over that process with them of thinking through, how do we address that? Collaboration and duplication analysis, we want them to go out and see, how are you doing services different than your counterparts, or what's the same? And they have to write to that as well. So it's requiring a little bit more, I guess, analysis before you submit a request that may not have been there before. Sustainability plan. If you get the funding, how do you sustain this project later? If you don't get the funding, are you still going to do it? Do you have other resources available to you? We have many organizations that can get federal funding for many of the things they do. Other organizations cannot apply for federal funding. So what we have is a lot of people applying for CSAC while they also apply for federal funding. And an organization that can't apply for federal funding is really competing with those that might have other opportunities to apply. So you kind of we just want to get all that information out on the table for the CSAC board. And then the funding context and describing how that funding will play into the program or project. I think what we want to see also is the funding history of that organization receiving CSAC funds. How many years have you received it? What have you done with it? I guess it's a more transparent application for our committee to take a look at, because I think in the past, it's just kind of been, well, if you don't get that, apply for CSAC. What we're asking in these questions is more detail from the organization. How are you going to do this, and what's different about your proposal? So, in a nutshell, that's what makes it up, is the application.
I'm
And I
going
wanna-
to, I see that there's some lights
sure.
lit up here. We have President Aliff, and then we have Councilor Gomez. So I'm going to go ahead and give them an opportunity to field their questions or comments.
Thank you. I'm a little confused. If you go back one on the rubric, go back one more. Collaboration and reduction of duplication. Councilor Dante made a statement. Could you make that statement again, what that meant?
It means that if a organization applies for CSAC and they receive money, and then they turn around and apply for the CBDG and home grant, and they receive money as well, that's considered duplication of city money.
Okay, but here's my concern about that. If you take specific organizations who have a very large need of cash, okay, and they use multiple organizations to get their money, you can't just say, because you go to CDBG or you get this grant, that doesn't mean that their needs are fulfilled. It just means that CSAC is another funnel of cash that they need. So to say that if you get funding from any other source, that's duplication of federal funds or taxpayer dollars, so you don't qualify, I would never support that.
Okay.
Simply because so many organizations rely on several buckets of money in order to operate and deliver their services. So to me, nowhere in when you read the program overview does duplication say anything about if you get money from another source, that's going to eliminate you or lower your score through CSAC. And again, this is going to be a deal that I don't think you're going to be able to get through tonight, because I have like 10 pages of yellow markings of how are we going to get through all of this, because there's a lot of questions about how this process is proposed to be laid out. And I understand this is a work in progress.
Right.
And things like that. So I guess my question would be, is tonight, are we going to start redlining stuff and say whether we support that or we don't support that?
I think the point of this conversation is to open the door that maybe we need to change how we've been doing it, and this is the first blush at how do we do that. And give you opportunity for feedback as well. I hear what you're saying, Counselor. I think what we want is full disclosure, though. I think what we're saying is that the scoring rubric is different than the application, in the sense that in the scoring rubric, we're giving CSAC the ability to grade on a scale what they feel, if you have a duplication, what that score would be for them. It's not closing the door to that nonprofit applying if they have more than one or two or three sources, but it is saying to them, a strong application is not looking at multiple sources all of the time. If they've received CSAC money year after year after year, what's the sustainability? That question has to be answered as well. So you've got many questions in this application that go at the same, I guess, the same purpose, which is how do we give out money in the community and avoid giving it to the same organizations over and over while others might want to apply but never get the chance. And that's this process. How do we set up a process that allows that? And this is our first attempt at talking it through, like what we've seen and what CSAC struggles with. And the rubric is really the way they can gauge that. We're not telling them they can't give them a high score. That's up to the CSAC board to decide for themselves, is that a conflict? We're defining it, but in the application, every applicant has the chance to address it and how it's different. So that would be the one, I guess, difference between this process and the prior one, is that we're even bringing that up. There are some organizations that have done that, and it is something that we want to be able to say when we give out money, that we are fair across the board in our community about what organizations can apply and how those dollars are spent in our community to return. We even talked about, you know, the potential of 2 years on, 1 year off, 3 years on, 1 year off. We don't know. But we know that what we've been doing with the CSAC dollars year after year after year hasn't addressed all of the needs that our organizations have publicly. So again, to answer your question, this is the first blush at a process change, and we realize you'll have lots of questions, and there is a lot in that packet, but we wanted you to at least understand the why and what we've been seeing and hearing from our CSEC membership. And I don't know how many of you have been contacted by them, but I have, and they're like, I just need some guidance. I need to know what we should be looking for. How should we be doing this? And those that have been on that committee a long time have seen it year after year after year. So we just wanted to kickstart the conversation with you all and bring it to you tonight so you could maybe think about it and see if there's weakness in it, and let's talk about that. Again, this is for next year. This isn't for current money, it's for 27. So that would be what I would say.
Thank you. I will acknowledge Councilor Gomez.
Yeah, this initially was months ago when the funding equitability and balance question came to you and me, and Paul, and we sat down with Christine Trujillo, who in my mind is more of a researcher nut than I am. But the things that we went over and looking at, what do I mean by the equitability and balance? Some sectors like art and culture were getting very small amounts compared to other sectors like children or seniors getting 10 times that. And what was the math that was done to do that? So I think that was a fair question. The second thing is that we came and talked about was the self-sustainability and self-sufficiency time targets. And what I mean by that, and this is something we had discussed at length, and I'm going to give the credit here to Paul McPheeters that brought that to my attention. And what we talked about was, at what point is it reasonable to think that we're going to have whatever nonprofit it is get off the dole? So, and I don't mean to put it in such a crass way, but at what point do they do their own grant works, their own fundraisers, their own bake sales, whatever it's going to take, so they can get on the road to their own and be a model for the next nonprofit that's going to try to go down that road themselves? That's what we're missing here. And finally, I want to know when what are the pre-indicators for somebody that comes in for a nonprofit? Are they going to provide us with the total number of fundraisers they've already done, the total number of event sales, the total number of funds that they've raised, whether it's through ticket sales or donations and going door to door? We don't get that. We ask for it, but that should be a requirement that's filled out, and it has to be checked off because a lot of people, I think, when they come to us and we fill their need, and these injections of funds are really important to them. I got it. But at what point did we start becoming self-sufficient? How many other communities in Colorado, and they probably have different ways of funding these, are doing it the way we're doing it? I think we're kind of like idealistic in how we're doing it. I think we got to ask for a lot more information and then have them vet it more correctly, because they're not being, in my mind, they're not being accurately vetted, and they're not. And the equitability question is still out there. How come one nonprofit's getting 10 times? This is getting 1. How did we come to that? I still don't know the answer to that. So, and I feel very comfortable working with Christine. I feel comfortable working with Paula, but it's going to take some time to figure this out. Thank you.
I'll respond.
Anybody else? As a point of clarification, one thing I'm wanting to know, we're trying to set like guardrails and, for funding for 2027. So the applications that are going to be taken now in July are for 2026?
No.
So we have to approve, we have a month to figure this out. I would like to suggest that there is, room on the work session schedule in the next 2 weeks. If we want to come back and talk about this, I would offer that to us as a group, if we want to do that. Councilor Lucero.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
I may be alone in this, but I don't believe that the CSAC process and the application materials, the scoring rubrics, I don't think that the process is fundamentally broken. I think it, by and large, is a really good process with a group of folks that are extremely bought in and want to be there and take the responsibility very seriously. With that said, I've heard the same thing that you mentioned, Commissioner, that they do want some guidance. So if we're going to try to fix this in the next month, I don't know that we have to go through the 2 readings of an IGA and to, vamp the entire rubric and application process. Maybe what we need to agree upon is just some guidance for CSAC as they start accepting applications coming up here in the next couple months. And to me, it could be a pretty informal guidance document, but something that both of our bodies agree on, that this is what we're looking for. And it can be largely driven by some of the difficulties you folks ran into as you were going through your process. If we can start there as kind of what went wrong in the process, and I didn't catch 100% of those conversations, so I don't know if it was a couple of specific grantees that were the issue or whatever the case may be. I think we can provide a more informal guidance document so that they can go through their process. And wow, getting cut off, perfect time.
You're good. Go ahead.
Without having to do the whole rigmarole of a couple readings and a formal IGA and doing all of that can come at a point to be determined.
Councilor Hernandez and then Dante.
So Melissa, this question is for you with regards to what Commissioner Lucero just said. If we give just some basic guidelines about how we would like to see a little bit of changes and keep the format the way it is right now, how open is the commission to that? Because I've been hearing things like, we don't want them telling us how to do this. We're the ones who spend the time doing it. Those types of things. So,
Well,
how do
yeah,
you feel
so
about that?
first, thank you, Councilor Hernandez. I think that this entire group needs to remember that you all are the ones who set the rules, and that it is, my position and all of the CSAC board or commission to implement those. As far as what Commissioner Lucero just said, I think that we could work something out. I think that it wouldn't be formally adopted until we did update the IGA, but the whole point of this is to give some guidance to the CSAC members so that they know what to put into the application as far as what we're doing. So I do think there is a way that we could work it out as long as we could get some sort of guidance, and consensus between the two bodies. We could open up the applications at that point.
And then maybe from an overall perspective of putting this plan into operation, maybe that's something we could do over all of this time for next year, for 28. So, because obviously it's going to take some time. President Aliff just suggested that there's a lot to consider. He's right, there's a lot to consider. But I think from my perspective as a counselor, what I was concerned about is what it looked like when we were talking about how money was granted to people, and we kind of felt like not knowing all of the answers, not knowing all of the scores, just from perception perspective, that it seemed like it was a little bit unbalanced. That's kind of where we came from. Thank you.
And then two, I think multiple people have kind of made the point or skirted around it. I think, Roger, to your point, at the end of the day, it is our decision between the two bodies of the city and the county on how to direct what are the priorities. And I brought that up, I think we all have in the past, as far as, hey, is this being used for operations or is this being used for a specific project? Because those are two different things. So I think Miles is probably more in line with let's get through this guidance piece sooner than later and then work on the overarching IGA or agreement that has some of the finer details to work through. But I think that it probably would be beneficial to have a work session, if for no other reason, just to say what our priorities are. What are the county's priorities? What are the city's priorities? Where do those mesh, and where those differ, and then kind of go from there.
I would like to take a moment to address Ms. Lopez Ferguson. Would you mind stepping up? Or are you good back there with your mic? Well, I mean, tell us what you need. where is your committee with being able to fund in 1 month? And what help us understand what your committee needs? Because I know that you just had a bunch of new folks come on. So can you give us some insight?
Sure. I think the biggest question has always been, there's just so much need in community, and the amounts that are requested by organizations, we can't even begin to touch. And so when we're trying to figure out the best way to utilize a small amount of money to meet the needs of a very large pool of applicants, it's helpful for us to really understand what you all consider to be priority needs within the city and county. So, for example, we've talked a little bit about, do you want us to prioritize youth? Is that something that both the city and the county really want us to look at? So if we're balancing and looking at two different organizations, and there's only $50, who are we going to give that to? If the city and county say, we want to make sure that young people are fed, that makes it easier for us to make that decision. So it's really those type of larger buckets of guidance in terms of what is it that you would like us to be almost like a tiebreaker or to prioritize in those final decisions. So we do have a scoring rubric, and I love what, some of the work that was done here. It definitely is similar to what we have been using. But this is just one of many tools that we utilize in making decisions and helping us to really evaluate applications. So, at the end of the day, I feel very confident in the competencies of our commission members, and I know that we will make strong decisions, but at the same time, we want to make sure that when we bring them to you, they're not going to be questioned because you have different priorities that were not articulated to us. And so if you give us those priorities, we're going to do a better job to where there's less questions down the road. And I think that's pretty much where we are. And I want to thank all of our commission folks who are here and joined us today. So raise your hands.
Thank you.
Does that help at all?
Sure. I want to acknowledge that I'm trying to see everybody's lights here. Councillor Boston has a comment, and Councillor Boston, as soon as you're done, then we'll move over. Councillor Gomez, did you have something? You had your light on?
Yeah, I had it on for a second. I was just curious if we're going to...
Wait, hang tight. We'll come back to you, and then down to you.
Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah. So, Councillor Boston, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Correct me if I'm wrong, did we not already do this exact thing last year? Where we came together in a joint work session and made some recommendations and adjustments to the new IGA that we were going to pass this year?
We did, but not to the actual application at this level.
So what's the difference between that and this? This is going to change the application?
This is asking for financial documents as part of the application. It's asking for those questions that I went over. It's probably going to take you a little time to look through. We really did a deep dive into what goes into that current application and what we could improve upon to give more information to CSAC as they look at applicants. And what happened this year is that because of the funding at the federal level going away, all the funding went to human services type projects. And so we have to balance. I think what I feel as a commissioner is that we also have the zoo. We have a lot of museums. We have other things too that would benefit from these dollars. But when we have a moment where federal funding goes away and it all goes to those service organizations, that process didn't work for those others last year like it would have worked had there been some stronger guidance. And so last year was an unusual year that pointed out, I think, a flaw that we didn't anticipate. And so this application is really designed to try to get us thinking about how can we give more guidance and have 4 different areas of funds. I mean, again, you talk about balance of funding. If human services is the only pocket of money you want to give to, then we need to be clear about that so others don't apply for it. If we're only going to give to human services, then there's no point in other organizations applying. And I think that's the frustration you hear from those that don't get access to the funds is why bother to apply if that's what's going to happen? And so we're trying to provide clarity up front and say, do we have 4 quadrants of funds that go to certain areas? Do we rotate that funding? it's an opportunity to ask those questions. And again, I know the time crunch to get it done this year probably isn't realistic, but we wanted to get it out to you because we want to avoid in the future of not having that clarity for CSAC, who at the end had to make those decisions without us because we asked them to. And then at the end, we got questions. So that's kind of where this originated, was seeing that happen.
Counselor Gomez, please.
Yeah, I guess for me, we have a great executive assistant, Katie Hester, and she's very good and very detailed, and I know she could write her on a lot of the stuff that I have questions about, and preparing us properly, the council, for the vetting questions that we can bring forward. I don't think we have to move a step. We just keep on moving along and making the changes as we're going, because we can get better, but we need this kind of person that's very detailed to help with this. Again, I'm just, curious, and what are we going to do when it comes time to the question right now, equitability between the sharing of nonprofit monies or refunds? How are we going to address that right now, today?
I mean, again, I would suggest that maybe we all come up, the county can put 5 of our priorities, you guys can put 5 of your priorities and see where we're at, like whether that's youth, whether that's whatever that is. Realizing that those funds are limited.
We're good.
Counselor Dante.
Okay, I want to go back to Mark's duplication question. On the duplications, we're not talking about organizations that are receiving money outside of the city. We're just talking about money that's duplicated within the city. So like I was saying, that they're getting from 2 different organizations in the city. And the reason why is because if they're getting grants from like CBDG and home grants, and they're also getting CSAC grants, and yet we have organizations that are getting 0 from CSAC, that's not equitable, you know? And that's why we were looking at that. And the other thing is, I really don't agree with having priorities according to categories such as, well, let's put the priority for the homeless this year. Well, next year we'll do it for health. That's not keeping everybody equitable. It's not letting all the organizations be on the same footing. It's, you know, I agree that if it's an emergency situation, then yes, they should be a priority. But to say that one category is going to have priority over another category, and then some of them don't even get any money because they're not on the same footing, I don't think that's equitable.
Yeah, I'm just relaying, again, I think what CSAC has asked us, and that's for that guidance of what are the priorities, because those funds are extremely limited. I think that, yeah, we have to keep in mind our time crunch and what we need to do within the next month. And I think, quite frankly, the only thing that we could do in that time frame, we're not going to rewrite everything, adjust the application, do all that. I think that what would help you guys, right, is priority list.
Okay, I'm in agreement.
Okay. So maybe 5? Somebody want to throw another number out there?
So I'm wondering, would each, Counselor Eliff, please. President Eliff.
I just want to make one more statement in the fact, because we hear a lot of these terms of what's equitable, what's not equitable, but over the history of CSAC, it has always been left up to the CSAC commissioners who look at the applications, who go through the process to determine what the needs are. What I feel right now is that we're trying to micromanage from a government standpoint, from a counselor, commissioner standpoint. They want guardrails or they want information, but we want to literally say, well, you got to do this, you got to do that, this can't be done. I mean, the things I'd like to say, I probably can't say, but how do you just say that only certain groups can apply because this is our emphasis? So you're going to say to somebody who does wonderful service and is in dire need of funding, and the commissioners would find that they were deserving of funding, we're going to give them parameters that says, well, you can't even consider them this year because our priority is on museums. So feeding the children isn't important. Housing the homeless isn't important in this cycle, but you're free to apply next time. Literally, that's not equitable in any stretch of the imagination, because now you're limiting who can apply and who can't apply. That, in my opinion, things like that need to be taken off the table, and you have to, we as a body either need to take it over and manage it, or we need to let the commissioners of CSAC do their job, which they've done tremendously over as long as I can remember, that it hasn't been this huge problem. Where we run into these conversations is when somebody doesn't get funding, it's because it was rigged, because the commissioners are racist, because, I mean, we hear it all. But the reality is they do a fantastic job. They look at the dollars that they have, and they pass those dollars out the way that they see where the need is within the community. So I'm just saying we should be careful in over regulating how this is going to go down.
Just real quick, I don't want to micromanage them. In fact, we have made the decision as the Board of County Commissioners to allocate much more of our aid to other entities to CSAC. I don't think that we should all be sitting around determining that. And the people that make those calls are the ones that eat, sleep, and breathe it consistently. I don't shoot the messenger, but they have asked for guidance, right? You guys have asked multiple times for priorities of what we would like to see, not mandating that you have to do those things, but just what's the city kind of want to see this year? What's the county kind of want to see this year? Again, not mandating you have to do those things. I mean, again, I'm not
Well, let's be
married to
fair,
it.
if you say this is a priority or this is a priority, that's what they're going to focus on. And they're going to pass up maybe somebody or some organization because we've made it a priority. They should be able to figure out what the priorities of this community is.
Then why do we, quite frankly, and I hate to sound like this, but what's the point of this? Just leave it the way it is.
Sounds like, that's what I'm hearing.
I don't.
Well, that's just me.
No, I know,
ranting and
but I mean,
raving.
Councilor Gomez and then Councilor Hernandez.
Yeah, I think I think we need to consider the limiting of the funds that are available. I mean, if the requests come in, we have a certain amount, and we only have so many dollars. I have concerns when I see some of these nonprofits come up, and there's great ones and there's not so great ones, when they come up and they double their ask. And within that whole year's time, they've done nothing to set up any kind of funding for themselves or grant writing or bake sales. And why would you have to go out and put that together when you're just going, we need money? I think we should also limit how many times you can stay on this. Maybe it's 2 years or 3 years. I get it. It's no different than a small business. I ran 2 small businesses, and I know if I had an injection of funds when I needed it, maybe twice a year, that would be helpful. I understand it's no different than nonprofits. It's a business in a lot of ways. And I think that you're on your own, in my estimation, within 2 to 3 years. After that, that's enough. We have plenty of nonprofits that are trying to apply that would like to get in line, but it's targeted. And how long can't even tell you how long some of these nonprofits have been on the line looking for money, and they haven't gotten themselves any better and working to get themselves self-sufficient. That really, really, I think, is the key for me.
Councilor Hernandez.
Ms. Cook, when you ask for guidance, can you tell us what guidance you want?
To be honest, we really want, if you have priorities, we need to know those priorities.
Define
And
priorities.
So
for me,
if you
please.
want, of the multiple categories, eligible categories that people can apply for, from the arts to culture to homeless services, do you have a preference for what you really want us to focus in on? If you do, and if you have strong opinions on that, we need to know that up front, because when we make our recommendations, we don't want pushback or questions about why we made those decisions.
Correct. So
Now-
what if we just say, we want a cap of $75,000? And that way, everybody can get touched by these dollars.
Those sort of, that's fine. Those are more, logistical application eligibility criteria that make sense for the city and county to do. Now, when it comes to actually doing the prioritization or what the needs of the community are, we're studying that all year long. That's all we do. And so if you don't want to give us the, a ranking of, what actual categories you want us to focus on, fine. But you need to give us that authority and the ability to make those decisions, but then not come back and question and say, hey, you decided to allocate this much money because federal funds were cut, whatever that may be.
Right.
But that was the autonomy that you gave us to make those decisions.
So-
So we need just clarity on if you want us to do that, we can, and we have been doing that. And we have found more effective ways to prioritize kind of those categories internally. But kind of the back and forth of trying to make everybody happy and having that discussion that's where it gets tricky for us.
Right.
But the other things like caps, I mean, we definitely have opinions on, multi-year grants or general operating. We have very strong opinions on those pieces that we would love to share. But at the same time, those are like logistical, application pieces, which I do feel definitely falls within the realm of what you all need to decide for us.
So there's too many people to satisfy everybody. You're just never
Right.
going to do it, because what's good for one is not necessarily good for another. What I see as a quality nonprofit, somebody else may see, well, they get money somewhere else, or they really don't do that much in the community. So you're never going to please everybody. So I guess I'm suggesting, but instead of priorities, maybe we should just, with this new Rubik's scoring system, maybe that's something for 28, but for 27, maybe we just kind of, I don't want to tell you how to score people. I don't want to tell you where to give money with the different categories. All I want is to make sure that if a nonprofit applies, that they actually have a chance to get some money. And I'm pretty easy to please in that matter, so.
I appreciate that. And one thing when we do talk about making this an equitable process, it's not just about who is getting funded and who isn't. We need to be aware when we're doing these applications that there are a lot of very small nonprofits who don't necessarily have the capacity to dig this deep. So we talk about wanting all of this information and reporting. Well, if you have a fully volunteer organization, like in Colorado City, that's not equitable for that organization versus somebody who has a paid grant writer and development officer who does that work. So when we're talking about equitability, you have to keep that in the back of your mind too. It's not just about who is getting money funded one year, like human services versus the arts. The application process also has to be considered when you want to talk about equity within grant making.
Councilor Latino.
I just want to say, I think you're doing a good job. I think we've been going around and around with this now for over an hour, and I think basically you're doing a good job, okay? And so you don't try to fix something that's good. And obviously, everything that we deal with as a governing body it relates to money, okay? And I think that you're doing a good job, and I think for us to sit and continue to debate this doesn't really hold a strong place as far as I'm concerned, because you're doing a good job. And we either have the money or we don't have the money. and we've allocated the money, and so they're doing what they need to do with the money. And again, if we don't have it, we can't allocate it. But I think at this point in time, you know, we've been debating now or discussing, not debating, discussing the pros and the cons and the do's and the don'ts. And I think what it all boils down to is they're doing a good job and they need to continue to do what they're doing, and they don't need to be micromanaged.
I would like to make a proposal because we're cutting into the agenda, and I know we only had a little bit of time here. Melissa, and this is to the county commissioners, do you have anybody who could create like some sort of like a survey monkey or anything like that that could be sent out to all of us to kind of get a gauge of where everybody is on those priorities? Can someone do that?
I can do that, but Brian, did you hear that question?
Can we do that, Harley?
Oh, thank you, Harley.
I would, let's not do that. Let's not try to make policy via email. I don't think that's a good idea. I think it's been recommended a couple times to have work sessions. I think that's the most straightforward way to go about this.
Okay. Ms. Ferguson, when is your next meeting? Your CSAC meeting?
Should be the 17th of June.
17th of June, okay. We have city council has a work session June 15th, so what I would propose is that at that work session, if we can look at the attachment that was provided to us and just give some insight into what your feelings are and what you would like to see, and then we can then collaborate and then provide that information to the CSAC committee to start to drive the application process come their next meeting, June 17th. Does that sound like a fair proposal, or what are your thoughts on that?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for your input. We will move on with this is a very constructive conversation, and I want to thank all of our guests for being here. At this point, we will move on with council's agenda. And at this, we would like for the council to move into an executive session, and I'd like to entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move we go into an executive session for the conference with the city attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS Section 24-6-402, Parent 4, Parent B, and for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and/or instructing negotiators under CRS Section 24-6-402, Parent 4, Parent E, Parent I, and the following additional details are provided for identification purposes: Economic Development Project, Project Falcon, Pope Block Building leases, and City of Pueblo versus API Incorporated litigation updates.
Second.
All in favor? I wanted to clarify that the county commissioners are invited to join in our session today. So please, I think they cleared that through their attorney. Yeah. Council commissioners will be moving down to the second floor.